That's where we're going to start. We're going to tie a knot to it, and I usually like to tie it up by the by where the metal meets, but I don't. I normally traditionally make them also with osher, red willow dogwood, and you can usually find that stuff around the water or around swamps. Right, you see it in the Christmas decorations and ornaments also around here in the ditch. Traditionally, the dream catchers were made from red dogwood, sinew from the deer, or stinging nettle. But was like myself, I'm not too fussy on working with stinging nettle. That's not something that I particularly enjoy, so I like to stick with sinew. And they're usually about 3 to 4 inches as traditional ones in diameter. And what you would do is you would take your dogwood and you would roll it to a circle and then tie it off. And when you tied it off, you made your circle. And that was made for children. And they were attached normally to cradle boards. And they used to hang them from the cradle boards there to amuse the child, and also they would hang them with a feather, right? So there would be just the sinew and a feather hanging down type thing attached to the dream catcher. And the point of that was to give something for the child to have its attention, and also to show that the feather movement would sort of remind the child to breathe, right, and the importance of the air and the airflow, because it would see it and it would keep it interested in it. And that was the whole point. So a lot of times with male dream catcher for a male baby, they would attach an eagle feather. And this is and I hear people always say about this, but the female child, they would put owl feather, and it would be there. And for adults, they wouldn't have any feathers. So, and what the thing with there's a lot of different stories about the origins of the dream catcher, and the one thing that's common about them is that they all talk about the dreaming and that connection to the spirit world at night and dreaming. So there's those commonalities, and the important thing to remember about that is that the can't be that important. I'm sort of lost my word direction here, but I think it is that that it is Anishinaabe, and it is something that has come from the Anishinaabe people. You know, even though everybody else claims it, and everybody has a different version of it or a different story, but I think the biggest thing about it is that you have to consider that there's a lot of intermarriages. So a lot of these traditions and stuff were probably passed through families that did intermarry and were carried on. So yeah, something. I'm a little bit tangled up here. Amazing. This never happens to me. That's probably what it is. So just give me a second here. So what we're going to do when I was talking about that is that different stories and stuff like that, is that if you'll hear people, like if you look at dream catchers, like see how what I've done here is I've carried on the outside base, right? And basically what it is, from where you knotted it off, you come around the bigger piece, and you lay it over like that. Then you come in between it with your sinew, and you pull it until it's tight. So you have this effect here. That would sort of look like that. So, and you keep doing that. Now, there's stories that talk about this, and like I said, coming from different communities and different things. Some people will use um, 7 of these attached on the outside of the circle. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Some people will use 8, and some people will use 13. And the significance between using 7 is some people believe that it's the following those teachings, those 7 fundamental teachings of our grandfather teachers or grandmother teachers, depending on where you are. Now, when you go to 8, which is what I normally use, because 8 is significant to the spider, right? Because the spider has 8 legs. So that's what I normally do. But some people use 13 also because that's the reminder of the 13 moons that we have in a year, right? And I've even seen people do this and do it with 12, which would make like your hours of a night, right? From day to night. So like I said, whatever you feel comfortable with, that's what you're going to do, right? Because these are medicine, and they are considered to be like sacred to the Anishinaabe, because when you go back to the story of how this became, right? Now, one of the stories I like it's a very simple story, but it's in a lodge. There was a grandmother sitting there, and for days she watched this spider create this web, and every day she watched this spider over and over, and she just kept admiring how beautiful and how nice it was, and how calming it looked like watching him make these. And so, and this went on for days. And then one day, after about the third day, her grandson came in to visit, and he was sitting there. And as in, kids are mischievous, and he saw that spider there, and he took his moccasin off, and he was going to smash that moccasin on that spider. And his grandmother had caught him and said, "No, don't do that. You don't kill that spider. That spider's been in here with me all week, and keeping me amused." So he put it down, and he still couldn't figure out why his grandmother wouldn't let him kill the spider. He didn't want the spider in there. So he just left it alone and went out. And then after he had left, the spider had said to the grandmother that, you've watched me making this, and you haven't disturbed me or anything. And he said, "I thank you for, saving my life." And he says, "I'm going to give you something in return." So he said, this grandmother spider said, she was that she would show her something that would be good medicine for the Anishinaabe people, and that medicine would, she said, "What?" So she started to spin this web. She started to spin this web, and she said, "Watch this." And so she watched it, and he kept making this thing, and they kept and spinning this. And when he was done, he said, "This here, Dreamcatcher, or net catcher, as they would call it, would protect your children at night from bad dreams, and it would catch all the bad dreams in the webbing, and through the center of the webbing there was a hole, and it said that that would allow all your good dreams to go through. And if you've ever noticed that with a spider web in the mornings, they make them at night, and in the morning when they get up, you see the dew shining on them, and it's very reflective of the light through all the spider webs. It's really nice to see. It's quite the sight. And what they so he said that in the morning, she said that in the morning that when the sun come up, the dreams that were caught in the web would be burnt away, and from the sun, yes, when the sun came up. And this is well, let me just adjust it if you can't see my hands. I'm not used to working up in front of a thing. So as I was saying, when you get around the first part of it, you go to the next piece like this, where when you finish your first row. If anybody's that far or further ahead than me, that's fine. But you would bring it through the same way you did when you wrapped it around the ring. So it would look like, and then you would pull it till it came to the center. So you would have something like that. And you see how it looks? Does anybody have any questions, or is everybody got understanding what I've been doing here? So, and like I was saying, when it's weaved like this, yeah, like I said, I use 8 because of the 8 legs on a spider. So because when I'm done, usually you can see a spider body and you can see 8 legs coming out from it, and that's the that. But not everybody's will be like that, and not everybody makes them that way, right? So, like I said, the one thing that I find with Dreamcatchers is that there's a lot of it's that connection to that dreaming and spirit world that is common with all the stories and all the different ways of making it. So but like I said, the one thing that's really important, I think, and with these stories is that it's the creator has given us all these different gifts, right, and all these different talents and special things that all animals have, like and some some trees and plants have special that they have fruits that you can eat, and flowers, they have their medicine, so they have smells, pretty smells and stuff like that. And one of the big things, gifts that the creator had given the Anishinaabe is the gift of dream. So you could dream and you'd have your visions, right? So, and with the medicine wheel, or with Dreamcatcher, I mean, your visions and could be protected, because there's always bad visions coming around and bad dreams coming around as there is good. So that's the whole intent of having a Dreamcatcher, was to protect people from that. So one of the things with when a Dreamcatcher, like I said, is made with dogwood, sinew, and also when it's made with the old way, they were only meant to be temporary. So once it would dry up and then it would crumble, and that's when you knew that it was done, and that's when you knew that protection was done. So you'd have to make a new one if there was any more problems, like if they were having more bad dreams. So and it's funny because as adult ones, you would continue making them if they had bad dreams too. But adult ones would be made oval, and they wouldn't be made circular. All right, so it's very you know, unique to the individual. I think that you're making it for. You know, like, you know, people. I think if people understood the spiritual side of the connection to a dream catcher, then there wouldn't be so many of these marked up, you know, all over the place, and you know, made in China and all this other things, because you know someone told me one time, they said, you know what, I could get a dream catcher at the dollar store for less, and I said, yeah, but the person who made the dream catcher that you didn't buy it was the one that's going to work, because it's made with good medicine, and it's made for the person that got it. So like, I mean, like, you know, I said, so you can buy your one, or you can get one from someone who will make you one that will protect you. You know, and like I said, there's another interesting story that I found that I've heard about Dreamcatchers too, and that's there's an old story where there was a time, and it was dark, and the Anishinaabe people, they had bad dreams, and they were starving. There was plenty of food, there was plenty of everything, but they were starving really, really bad, and everything they killed had bugs in it, and so they couldn't eat it. So it was all spoiled, everything, and so that's when Grandmother Spider came around, and at that time she had 6 legs, and she was she said, I can help here, right? And so she showed the Anishinaabe people this webbing and this thing, and she said, I can fix this, right? So she made these webs, and she was catching all these bugs in those webs, and she was eating them. And you know, the creator had seen what she had done, and she had given them 2 extra legs for protecting the Anishinaabe people and helping them. And but from that time, she showed the Anishinaabe. Okay, so when they
Hey, we got to make it higher. Hang on a minute, guys. Oh,
so like I said, she had made a spider web, and
still got to be higher. Hang on. It's impossible. I can't see your hands making it. Give us. What am I hitting there? Okay, now go.
Okay.
You can keep talking.
Okay, so like I said, so she said, I'm going to help protect the Anishinaabe people. She said after that, and she said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this and how to protect the Anishinaabe people. And she showed it, and they started using it too. So like I said, there's all these different stories, but I think they come from different areas, and as stories get told, the funny thing is that some get embellished, and depending on the storyteller, they get a little creative and stuff. But like I said, the main thing about it is that the common thread, as you would say, is about that strong connection. That never changes. That connection with the spirit world and with the night and dreams. So that's it. Well, what I'm doing is I'm throwing my thread in between the next two pieces. So if you've seen how this is, I take my sinew and I put it in between each one of those triangles as we further go, and it gets smaller and smaller around the circle, right? So I'm actually left-handed, so it's you might be seeing it backwards than what you're doing. So when I put it through, as you can see, it goes in, and then I pull it through the center hole, and what it does is it catches on to here, and it catches on to that triangle. So then I move it over to the next triangle, and I put it in the same way and pull it. So as you're doing that, you just pull a little tight. Now, as you see, the circle here is still open, but it's getting smaller, and the webbing is getting smaller. So once you get to a certain point where you feel comfortable, that's when you stop. So I just keep going until I feel it's comfortable, and then when I get a circle hole, as you see, a small hole like that, then I will tie it off. So yeah, some people put beads in it, and you've got beads, you've got feathers, and I think you've got some leather there that you can decorate them how you feel. So yeah, but I was just given a bead here, but I'm finished.
Oh, sorry.
So that's why I'm sitting here thinking about this. I could probably put another one out, but what I'm doing is, as you can see, I'm tying a knot and near the end, and just pulling. Sometimes people have they can't tie because the wax stuff is sinew is doesn't knot very well, right? So if I show you here the way that's going. No, it's the thing spinning. So like I said, if you hold it up and you see how it is here, right? You can look at it, and you'll see a spider body. Oh, it's moved a bit, but you can see a spider body, and then you'll see the legs coming out. You'll see 4 on each side, right? And on this side too. So this is what it would look like in that sense. You could probably make it a little small, and this would sort of look like the head, and you can see the body here, as you see here, right? And you see legs that were coming out, and it would be like that any way you hold it, right? You can see that kind of thing. So that's why I like to use 8, because to me it gives you that that appearance of a spider, right? So, and then what you can do is, because we were originally going to do this in redwood, you wouldn't need to wrap it. So, but I think there was an issue with transporting it and everything like that, and getting damaged. So we didn't don't have any leather for it. They have leather.
Yeah, I set leather for it.
Oh, okay.
I'll go get you some.
So once it's once it's knotted off, you would cut your piece. I don't know. It would look like sort of like that.
Oh, Tom, I think you're frozen there.
And fancy ones, but I'm just trying to think. This is, if anybody has any questions about that, or do you want me to do another one and try to show you through it? I don't know if there's that program whole thing.
Hi Tom, it's Casey here. I think it would be a good idea too to like, I love the storytelling, and I think it would be a good idea too to just maybe take us from the top and show us how to tie the knot and how to properly section our webbing off and how to work with our sinew, just in case we have any beginners with us.
Okay.
Miigwech.
Okay, so I'm going to cut. You guys will probably be ahead of me now, but what I'm going to do is going to start from the top. Okay, here's the ring. Here's my sinew. So what I normally do with the ring is there's a piece where it joins and it's a little rough, right? So that's where I like to tie it off. So what I do is I wrap it around and I tie it like I'm doing right now. So it wraps like that and ties like that. So for me, I like to ensure that it's good and tight and it won't come undone. So I will wrap it around one more time and knot it. So it's knotted. So I have a little tail hanging out, but that's fine because you trim it off at the end. And like I said before, if you have it like this and it's knotted, right? Just put a dab of glue over here. So then what the starting end, like I said, it goes through here like this. And as you can see, what I've done is I've created I wrapped I came on this side closest to me. Because I'm going from top to bottom, right? So what I do is I put it over the top here. And then when it goes to the bottom there, I pull it up to the center of the line where I am. So it looks like this. Does that make any sense? I don't know how else to explain that. So I would space it out. And one of the things for easy spacing, like I said, if you use 12 or 13, it's really easy to space because you know, it's almost similar to using it as a clock, right? So you can, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, right? All the way around. So you can have even spaces around it, because that's one of the challenges when you're doing this is to evenly space it, right? Because you're eyeballing it. So again, over the top and through. So it goes like that again. So then you've got another one, and then you pull tight and you space it. So it spaces like that. And the same thing, you go through again, space it. So you have it spaces, and the same thing here. And you just keep doing that around the brass ring or whatever object you're doing it with on. So it keeps going like that, and same thing through, right? As you see here. And We can do it again up. Well, sometimes, you know, like, so you're looking at the cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you should be able to get 8 at this space. Now do it again. And you can come close to the top, like if you're spacing right. Like you can come right up to where you tied, you know, and make it a complete circle. You know, so it would look like with all the spacing, it would look like this, right? So once you get around the first row, that's what it's going to look like. You see how it's sitting? And then once you pass that first row around the brass ring, you take your end again and you go through the first space between the two wraps. So it goes in the middle pretty much. And you go down from the top and then you pull your sinew to the center of the first join where the first I guess the first piece. I don't know what they call it. But you see how it is, right? So this is where we started. That was the first one we did when we wrapped around. So, and that's the second and third. So we went all the way around to the top again. And then from when we got to near the top there, where the first one was, we went to the space between the two and we took the tip of our sinew and we went through the center, as I'm doing right now. And then pulling from the bottom up through the middle of the circle, we come back up. So it wraps around the sinew again. And then we pull it tight to the center again, as you see right there. Did you see that? And we just keep doing that on the second row. And sometimes people find it easier to do it with a needle, because you know when if you got big fingers and hands, it's really sometimes it gets difficult trying to get smaller when you're trying to make them smaller. But and like I said, people use wool sometimes too now. So I mean there's a lot of changes with it now. Like I mean, we're using brass rings and wrapping them with leather, right? So it's like I said, if you want to make traditional ones, you get the redwood, you get sinew, and then you start wrapping. So, and you know, the old way, you know, you could put a bead in there or a wooden bead. I'm going to do this one with a bead, but I'm going to show you in a second. So a lot of times you can use seed beads, you can use crow beads, glass beads, whatever beads you want, right? So some people put more. I've seen people put 7 in, you know, for those teachings, right? So and then you go around again till you go around to the top again, as you've seen here. So, and then you take the first space when you're near the top, and you just keep doing this, and you do this till the circle gets smaller and smaller. So you go through the top there. See how they went to the top one, and I pull. So then it goes like that. This may not look like the rest of them, but that's just the way it is. That's the way it goes. That's why if you like, some people, what they do is with the tail, they'll take it down and they'll tie it off here so it looks like close to what the rest of them look like. But if you noticed on a lot of them, it's like that. No, they're not perfect. You know. No, they're not. Yeah, that's right. They're not supposed to be perfect. Yeah, the intent is to, you know, you're making it for the use of protecting, you know, kids from the dreams, right? From their bad dreams and their bad visions. So, yeah, like I said, but like you just keep making them like this, and I've made ones from like 1 inch round, and if you find so if you find that sinew comes in pieces that you can split down maybe to 4 or 5 strands on the length, so you make a finer webbing in your ring. I find that's good with smaller ones, but when the bigger ones, I like to keep the full length, right? So, and for a demonstration here, I'm using a full piece of sinew, not split it up, right? So, and I've made like right down to 1 inch to Dreamcatchers the size of hula hoops. So, so right now, because this seems like a good spot as any, I'm going to feed a bead onto it. I'm going to show you how to do it with a bead. So what I do is I pick the bead up and I put it on. I'm using a pony bead right now, and you see how it's sitting, right? And what I'll do is I'll go through here and I'll pull this through on the outside, and I'll go to the center again. I'll go to the center, and you see now the bead's on there. So once the bead's on there, I just keep going, and I grab it, and I keep pulling. I didn't know I was going to have to do exercise for this, and this is like an endurance thing. So, like I said, we just keep going. And it's like I said, goes down the through. You may not be able to see much because of my fingers, but I usually like to where I put the last.
I'll show you what. Maybe you could do one hand and one. You need to go, Pete. You need to go, Pete.
So how's everybody making out on these?
Yeah, it's out there.
So now I've come up to the bead. I just slid the bead over, and then I'm just going to come on the opposite side of the bead and then pull it to the center, and then see the bead sits there. And I just keep going, as you can see. And pull it. Bear with me because I'm not used to having my hands up like this and being in front of a camera like this showing, because I usually work with it flat, so people can see from sitting above me. But in these unusual circumstances, it's, I guess I got to learn to adjust. Like I said before, a lot of traditional ones, like for adults, have no feather. For babies, it was one feather hanging down from the bottom, and that's so they could watch it from their cradle boards. So but nowadays everybody gets fancy. Everybody likes to put fancy beads and they like to, you know, yeah, some use glass, some use wood, you know, and feathers, all kinds of different feathers, you know. Some use imitation, right? It's always nice to get the small little plumes. Those are the ones that look really nice when you're hanging them off. And they'll hang them off with like the sides, and they'll hang them off the bottom. You know, sometimes somebody will hang it off the near the top by the center, and it, so it's, I guess it'd be all up to your imagination how you want to finish it and how you want to dress it. It's the same as your shakers or the same as your drums.
Tom,
Yeah,
it's Penny from Curve Lake.
yeah.
I do these, but every time I get to the end of the first row,
Yeah.
are you supposed to leave it like that, a little bit loose in a way?
Well, yeah. You mean what in the where like I'm trying to figure out what where you're saying about loose. Like,
Okay. This is where I started right here.
well, just a minute. I'm
And
gonna have
then-
this. Let me have a look here.
Okay. And there is the first row.
Yeah.
And then, so up here is, oh, my cat.
Oh yeah.
So up here is where I started. And when I
Yeah.
come to this one, if I pull it tight, like it goes like that. So I usually now that's what I do is pull it down.
Well,
and-
if that works for you, but I've never had that problem. So, what I think what it is oh, I see, because you got right close, right beside it.
Oh, you're not supposed to do that?
Well, you can leave a gap. What I would suggest is this one tight here on,
No, because I was going to ask you about that.
well, Penny, you could probably, what you can do is probably, you don't have to do them all like that. You could, if you pull, because when you come around to the third, the second row and you start, you're gonna
Yeah.
put your piece in the middle of that and it's gonna pull it tight. So you're gonna
Yeah.
pull it anyways, right?
Yeah, because I do on this, like this is on the second one.
Yeah,
And then I would go to the third. Okay, so next time when I do one,
yeah.
I don't try and aim to go back up here where I started, eh?
Well, yes, okay, so let me just show you here what I've done.
Okay,
See, yeah, as you see here, you see the difference, right? Like I left a little bit of space, right?
oh, okay,
So I didn't quite go over, but you can go over. And what some people do, like I said, is with the tail, that when they've tied it off, sometimes they leave it about this long. And what they do is they come down to the point like that, so it looks like it's part of the. It doesn't look like there's a gap, right? It
Oh,
looks like
okay.
it's been and they tie a knot right here, right? So you would they pull it through and they tie a knot, so it looks like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can show you, but it looked like
yeah,
that.
no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but if you do pull it and you keep it tight, it's not going to affect the that look, right? So, even if it's just a little bit loose, like if you pull it a little bit loose, I guarantee you that if you're in the center here, you come to the center here and you start pulling, it's going to, like I said, okay. So when you come around here, you put your piece here.
Yeah.
Right, and you go around. But when you come around the third time and you get to that piece right there, you're going to go to the center again and you're going to pull. So it's going to pull to the center. It's going to pull down. So it's going to give you that tightness, and it's going to show
Okay.
that there's no difference, as you can see,
Okay,
right? Because, like I said, it doesn't matter which one you're on, because even if I'm here, right, and I pull
Yeah.
that through, it'll correct itself, because if I keep it centered and pull down like that, see it pull, and just pull it tight. So it's made it tight. It gets tighter as you go. So
okay.
I can't see, like I said, if you're following it through again, You know, like the circles will get smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
But and that's what I said. When I get to too small and I can't get my big gorilla fingers through them, I have a tendency to use a needle.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
Oh.
Chimiquach.
Well, okay, no problem. So but like I said, through the center. And pull. Is this any better, Casey?
Yeah, that was perfect. Thanks, Tom.
Okay. Can people see it and understand it? That's I just want to make sure. So I'm sure they could hear Sean. I mean, Otis whining. Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, if you were to look at this, and if you see it, you see from the point here, let me just, like, you see a body, right? That comes down like this. If you look, you can see this body. And from that body, and this would be like the head of the body, and this would be the tail. You'll see the legs come out from the body here, and they'll go all the way down, right? So this is why I said, when I said it looks like a spider when you're done, because if you look at it closely, you'll see that. And it's like, to me, that's what, to me, it's Doing 8 is honoring that story and honoring that spider. So, and like I said, so when you're using thicker ones, it's a little more difficult to get it through the holes if you don't have a needle, because people's fingers are a little bigger. So and once you get it to here, right, as you see, to tie it off, what I do is I go through this one, the next one, like I'm going to make another one, but instead of coming up through it, I go back to the one beside it, and I thread it through there. So when it comes up through there, it leaves a loop, and then I go back down the same one I was at when I went the first time, and I pull the thread down or the sinew down, and I wrap it through the loop that I kept. So when I go through the loop, I just bring the thread through, and I wrap it. I usually go through twice. I think that's more than enough. And then once it's through there like that, I pull it tight, and I get it as tight as I can get it. And that way it ties off. So that's what you're looking at when you're done. So, and it's tied off, right? So, and you just pull it till it's tight, and then your excess, you just snip. So you just snip it off like that, and you trim it off, and you trim off your excess on the other side. So it looks like that. So these two are like this, one with and one without, right? They're never always the same, but the object is to try to make this center look almost circular. It never happens sometimes. Sometimes it does, it doesn't. And then, good time for magic trick if I could connect them. But that would be the initial thing. So sometimes when you're wrapping, like some people wrap these pieces. Some wrap them before the circle before, right? Some wrap the circle before, so or they wrap it after they finish, and I think that's a personal preference too, because like I said, what I do is I'll wrap it when I sit there like this, and I'll put a tail through, and then I'll just go around it like and take the leather and go through. So, and it's just a matter of wrapping it. And I like to do it this way because when you're wrapping it this way, I hide those spots that where I attach the sinew to the brass ring. And I also hide the brass ring because I don't want people to know it's a brass ring. So, and you just keep wrapping around like that. So you get a look when you're looking at it. You see how, so this would be your top end piece, right? And you just keep wrapping it around like that with your leather. I don't know how much leather you were given, but I don't think I have enough for this one. But I'll just keep wrapping and show you. So it goes around like that through the things. And so what you do is you just take a piece of leather, and you just cut it in a scrap leather, and just length, and just cut it and strips like that. I like to use one solid strip, so because then it's easier to wrap, and you don't have to get fancy, trying to hide where the strip was or how short it was or if it wasn't long enough. So and like I said, you just keep wrapping. Now, some people find them very soothing, and others find it frustrating. All right, so it all depends on your personal nature, I guess. But like I said, I just keep wrapping and wrapping. People use cloth. People use yarn. I'm pretty sure you can use just about anything to wrap around your Dreamcatcher. That's the same with like I mean, putting feathers and stuff and beads. You could use sinew if you wanted to, right? But it would be, and I don't know how. It depends. I guess it depends on your own personal preference and taste. So like you said, I've been wrapping around it, as you can see. All right. So, and like I said, the reason why I like that is because when you wrap it, if you notice here, you don't see you don't see this part like on the Dreamcatcher exposed, right? So it looks, to me, it looks neater. But again, I think it's personal preference, right? So and like I said, you just keep wrapping and wrapping until you get till you bring it all the way around to the top. All right. And you'll find as you make more of them, you'll get faster and faster with them. You won't even think about it. A lot of times, like I said, when I'm talking to you, I'm not really thinking about making it. It's just the way it's just I'm doing it, right? So, and it's really, yeah, like I said, but my hands wander away from the camera. I'm not used to working with my hands up this way. I'm used to looking down at it, like I said before. And when people are around me and I'm doing a demonstration or something like that, they can see how it is right from my perspective, right? So and I think it's a little more difficult to do it this way to show and try like for people. I think a little bit backwards than most people, and like I said, I'm so that may confuse people.
Oh, we lost you there for a minute, Tom.
Yeah, I was wondering. So what the hell? What was that going on there? Did I get the hook?
No hook, no hook.
No hook. Okay. So like I was saying, we would wrap it in this sense. See if I can get this over. Okay. So we would wrap it all the way around again. And we would keep going. Like I said, this is going to be a guessing game because I was just tossed a piece of wrap. This came out of nowhere. And so, like I said, it would go all the way around. Okay. So once you get near the top and you've got it through again, you're going to come to a point where you're going to say, wow, gee, how do I tie it off? Right. So once you get it to there, you've wrapped it all the way around. You would take, you just go under like a normal knot and you would pull it, right? And it would just go similar to that. There's your wrap Dreamcatcher, right? So, and if you had enough here, and or if you have smaller hands, you could make the hook, right? Like a loop here to hold it. So, once, like I said, once it's like this, then you would take either sinew or leather, and you would put them attach feathers, right? There's all kinds of things you get feathers for. You can either you can just glue them on like here, or sometimes what I do is I make it like a slip knot, like here, as you can see, and then I attached them to it, right? Like, so it would be like taking, I don't know if I had a piece to show you, but it would be like taking, say, we'll use a piece of this. So what I would do is I would come up near the centers and probably use the top of, and I would take my leather or whatever I'm attaching my feathers to, okay? And I would put it through like this, and it would be like a slip knot, right? So I would pull the other part through it like this, and it would hang. That it would hang like that, as you can see, right? So it'd be like a slip knot there and hang, and then you could attach feathers, then beads, right? So you could put your beads up, you string your beads on the string here, and they go up. Let's see if I got any more. Okay, so if I were to take, let's just say we're 2 beads, and this would be either leather or it could be leather or it could be sinew or whatever you want to do. So what I would do is I would take a bead, run it up, run my leather or sinew through that bead. Well, maybe not through that one. Looks like it's blocked. That's why it was in a separate thing. So you would slide them like that, and you would take another bead. So you could put like the 4 beads, 4 colors, or whatever you wanted to do, right? And once I'd take another bead, and I would put it on here. So now I've got 2 beads hanging, right? As you see. So what would be doing next is I would tie it off with leather, and I would take a plume. Let's just take one of these plumes that we have in your kit there, and you could put them here, and then take the ends once they're tied off, and you would put them in to your Dreamcatcher like that. So does that make any sense? So and again, for being where we are now, I think that you're using glue, to dab a little glue in it for security. So you put one there, you can put, and then you put another one on this side, right here, and you can do the same thing, right? So, and just grab 2 different ones again. Grab 2, and I'll do the other side. And so Okay, so like I said, and then you could adjust your feathers once they're in that slip knot, eh? So they don't have to be equal, they could be separate. So they would look like that and hang right from the side. You've got your feathers. And you put one on the other side and put one down here in the bottom and you can hang them. And they could be as long as you want. It doesn't matter, but that's, or you could just leave one set of feathers on or a whole bunch. So like I said, it could come down to something like this, right? So like I said, like I said, the beads can be done wherever you want them to, and you can put cones to clip them, or you can just glue them and attach them like I've done here. So, any questions or anything like that regarding? I don't know if anybody's that far. So. But there's extra feathers there if you wanted to do a whole bunch, and there's beads like to do it. But like I said, you could either use sinew, you can use wool, you can use shoelaces, I guess, if you want, you know, to attach the feathers. So I don't know what, like I said, it's the basic. Like I said, the basic thing is like the stories always the same basic concepts behind it. It doesn't matter how you make it because it's done from the heart. And if you do it from the heart and the mind, that's good with good intentions. I said it can never be wrong. So it doesn't matter how it's made, right? And how it looks. I told you how basic they are and how basic they were when they were first made. But people get fancy and people get creative. A lot of people like to let the creative side loose. Like, I mean, I've even done it. I've made a module with Dreamcatchers, you know. I've done Dreamcatchers and Dreamcatchers. You know, I've done two-dimensional Dreamcatchers. I've done a Dreamcatchers the size of hula hoops and 3 feet round. You know, if it's got an open circle, like if it's a circle thing, something round or something. Like I've done it on. Well, let me see. I've done them on these things, right? So, and it doesn't matter what size, right? I mean, if you're looking for it, you know, like to make them for powwows and stuff like that. I mean, you can do them on anything, actually, you know. So, but I also wanted to give you the sacred side of them, right? So you could make, you know, like if you never have a child that has bad dreams or anything like that, you know, you can make one for them or for your, you know, your grandchildren, your nieces or nephews, you know, even your own children, right? So the whole point is that, you know, like I said, is how the original ones were and how they were made, and also, you know, how they are today. So it doesn't really. I just like people to know that they can be spiritual and they can be ceremonial. So that's the point, right? So it's you take it for what it's worth, and like I said, all the stories are. There's so many variations of the story, but like I said, the common thing about it is that connection with the dream world and that connection with protecting that spiritual side. So that's the whole point right there to me. All right. So, and you know, I have made them and we've sold them. I even get creative. I fancy, you know, like I've taken 2 different sinew colors and put them together and made Dreamcatchers so it have a different look to it, so different than anybody else has got out there. And I've done that quite a few times and matched it with the sinew colors. So you may have a 2-tone sinew going through the webbing, and it matches the actual feathers. So that kind of thing. So, and I've even broken it down to where I've done the 4 colors together in a webbing in the middle of it, just to show the differences that can be done with it. And so sometimes you can let your creative side go, but like I said, the basic simple ones, that's all it is. That's all you need for your own personal use. Fancy ones you sell to tourists. Right? I don't know what you want. So, but like I said, and again, there's no right way or wrong way if you're doing it with good intent. And you always remember that. And you just keep that in mind when you're making them. And that's pretty much it. I don't know if you've got any questions or any comments or
Yeah, folks, thanks so much, Tom. Do we have any questions for Tom before we say goodnight?
If, like I said, if you're not even, see, I can't even see the progress of people, so I don't even know where they are or what they're doing. Like I may be, like I said, I may do them fast enough that, and unfortunately, some people didn't get their kids, and they may be on here too. So if for anything, if they didn't get their kits and they weren't on, and they want to to you do a video?
Yeah.
Okay. They put a video up on YouTube too, but I'm just saying if they wanted to come talk to me or something like that, or me to show them firsthand, that's not a problem too. Just anytime you see me and if you got the stuff, more than willing to.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Tom, and thanks to everyone who joined us. We'll have this recording up on YouTube shortly, and Casey will be sending out a follow-up email, and maybe we can share your email address with everyone as well, Tom, just in case there's any specific questions.
Yeah, you can get from Kim.
All right. With that, we'll say thank you very much, Tom, and thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you the next time.
Everybody's good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sounds good then. Thank you very much.
All right.
I hope it was understandable. I really do.